What is going on, everybody? It is Tuesday night. Time to talk some football. I'm your boy SAJ, and I don't have any place clever to come live from tonight. Just hadn't really had a chance to think about
You,
anything. But I'm sure my counterpart BD has something good
I
for us
do.
waiting.
Uh, Obviously, what's up, everybody? I am BD. I don't think we've done this one before. I was thinking about it, and I don't remember hearing it. I'm really surprised if we haven't. But today, I'm going to be coming at you from the Laser Quest Studios.
Oh,
All kinds
good
of good
choice.
times when I was growing up. Just shooting people with laser guns was lots of fun.
I miss those days. I miss how simple things used to be back then. We actually did a lot out
Right?
there. Um, and it was
You
interesting.
You just get a group of
Uh,
friends, you go hang out on a Friday, Saturday night, and just run in there and just shoot the crap out of each other, you know?
yeah, yep. That used to be the
No, you do that with paint.
thing to
We do that
do.
with paintball too, but this was paintball was a little more fun. But it was if you don't want to get hurt or can't really do paintball at night or the places weren't open at night. So
Very true. Uh, in our young adult lives when we were trying not to get in trouble and stuff. So definitely good choice. Good choice. Um, Obviously, when we do a couple of shout outs real quick, first and foremost to our friends, Alamo, the folks that we hung out our first tailgate over at Harlandale. Want to make sure that we give them folks a shout out because they do still have that raffle going on to win a grill from them. So make sure you go over, check them out
yeah,
on Facebook,
absolutely.
uh, like, share, all the good stuff, right through the things. People appreciate that. And maybe get yourself entered a chance to win a grill. I know I could definitely use one. Ours has seen some miles, my friend, and it may be getting retired sooner than later, but we're definitely looking at retiring it at the end of the season and getting a new grill that we'll have to break in. But so want to give those folks a shout out, and then we also want to give a shout out to our friends over at Big Red, one of the sponsors of the San Antonio Toros. They were kind enough to share a spot with us, and they'll probably be sharing another spot with us this next weekend when we do the tailgating this Sunday.
That's right.
And definitely good friends to have around, especially with the South Texas heat. They had some wonderful electrolyte drink that kept us hydrated, so we could continue to keep hydrating with the adult drinks, and so it was just a wonderful combination. Also, want to give a shout out to our friends over at Texas Sports Productions. They have been instrumental in helping launch our podcast to a new level, right? With access to things that we haven't had before. They're helping us with access for some of the arena stuff. They're definitely helping out with high school football. It's going to be coming up real soon. And so they've just been really great to us. So I want to make sure that we give them folks a shout out. Okay. Now that we've done all the shout outs, what's up,
Tim, what
Toro
is up,
Jim?
Tim?
Um, let's talk about how things have been going in the Continental Football League. We're not going to spend the whole entire night talking about the Continental Football League. Um, we wanted to bring a guest in last week that unfortunately did not work out because of that unscheduled kind of bye week that we had with Fort Worth kind of taking a bow out of the league. But that gave us an opportunity to kind of focus on some of the other stuff that's going on. So let's talk about the Continental Football League and kind of how everybody's been doing so far. And then we want to talk about the upcoming game this weekend. The oh oh, shout out to Miss Jen too. I can't believe I forgot her. Right? She's been absolutely wonderful in helping out with getting us connected with people and kind of showing us the ropes about marketing and stuff like that. And so she has been an absolute godsend for this podcast because let's be honest, BD and I, we're good at talking. That's about all we are good at, right? So we need smart people showing us what we need to do.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
For
right. Yes. So we'll talk about. Continental Football League. Then we'll talk about this week's game, Tall City versus San Antonio here in San Antonio. And then we'll kick over to some of the other leagues because I know there's some major stuff going on in some of the other leagues. Then we'll wrap up tonight's show talking a little bit about the NFL, and then we'll just kind of recap on our tailgate and everything that's going to be going on this weekend. So BD, 2 weeks in, right? There's been some change, a little bit of volatility and everything. Some teams kind of bowing out, some teams not fully engaged yet. But what are your thoughts so far about the Continental Football League?
I honestly, I've been a little more focused with the NBA finals and stuff like that. I have kind of checked some games out, so kind of caught some of them on YouTube and stuff. I was interested in kind of watching the Syndicate Black Gold game this weekend. Obviously, with the thumping that we put on the Syndicate the week before. Curious how they respond. Obviously it was kind of the first game for Tall City. Just kind of gauging where each team was, and I mean it was a tight game. So, it's just kind of seeing that. It just kind of tells me like how far above everyone else that San Antonio is right now. And I doesn't look like we're going to have much competition really for playoffs, championships, stuff like that. As we're looking right now. I mean, just give us the championship already. Just what are we even doing, wasting our time here? Just give it to us. We're going to take it anyways.
It would be nice that we could think that, but we have to understand that as the season, because this is already a condensed season as it is, right?
Yeah.
We're extremely fortunate to have some extremely talented individuals on our team, but also some individuals that already have camaraderie with other individuals. So
Yeah.
we,
Oh, and
it,
that chemistry that came from playing together. I mean, we've talked to all the guys who have. It's not Military Parkway for one. It's Southwest Military, and I don't like people
drive,
enough to
yeah,
go. I hate traffic, and just a bunch of drunk idiots honking on the south side of town just does not interest me. I'm having a blast watching the games, but yeah, I'm not going around honking. But like
and I will say real quick, it sounds like San Antonio Police Department was giving out free samples of pepper spray. So, there was that at least.
I know the New York police department was after last night's game because I saw a bunch of those videos. But back to the thing. Yeah, you can tell that there's definitely a chemistry with a lot of the players from having experience playing with each other and stuff. And I mean, it's a huge thing, especially with the limited amount of training camp time that they had, kind of a week before the first like preseason game, and then the first regular season game, a week after that. So just that chemistry, that knowledge of each other playing together, kind of just knowing the rhythms that you're gonna have. Like you can tell that this team already has that. And it's I mean, for 2 weeks into a season, it's a great thing to see. So
Yeah. Well, and I want to make sure that, we kind of identify that it, it isn't exactly like, San Antonio is just cutting through, you know, everybody like a hot knife through butter. Last week, well, the
only
last
because we haven't played everybody
first
yet.
play,
We will. We will.
right. But I mean, it's important to note that San Antonio put up 24 on the Texas Syndicate, all in the first half. The Syndicate was able to hold San Antonio to 0 points in the second half. Now, we were able to move the ball up and down the field a little bit. Um, oh my gosh, that's that's brutal.
It's
That's
not Sharpie. It's stickers. It's been up there for a long time, Tim. Surprised you haven't noticed it yet.
you know, this is Tim we're talking about. But
That's true.
anyways,
I mean, it's only been up there
so
for like 8 months, but who's counting?
yeah, um, Texas Syndicate held their own against us the second quarter. Or I mean, I'm sorry, the second half. Um, and they did hold us in the second quarter to that last field goal. We weren't able to convert into a touchdown. Um, and if you go back and look at the stats, and these are the unofficial stats, by the way. Arndt went 22 of 42, 197 yards, two touchdowns, and three interceptions. Okay. Um, we got it done, but it was a little bit right? The thing that I really loved seeing was Cardenas blow up, five receptions, 78 yards. Our boy Cam Eccles, he went three receptions, 43 yards, and a tutty. And Chris Carpenter, another UTSA alum,
Yep.
did very well. One reception, 18 yards. That was a nice one. Um, Everybody got a little bit of action. They really did kind of spread it around. However, again, that was the first half. The second half, the syndicate made adjustments and was able to kind of counter us and at least keep us out of the end zone and keep us out of a safe field goal range, right? And then, of course, we had the continental shift in the fourth quarter, which made it even harder, right? Because we had to go, you know, 10 yards and three downs. Um, but I think it is important to note also that, the syndicate was able to hold their own against Tall City, and they wound up winning 23-20. I mean, it was a close game, and it looked like a pretty good defensive battle on both sides, right? So it's not exactly like, Tall City is necessarily just a slouch team. I mean, they played Texas Herd and put 26 on them. And Texas Herd is a team we're going to have to be playing later on this in the season here. Um, Flip over to the other side, the North Conference. Cincinnati Dukes have been playing a lot of non-conference games because of the loss of the Michigan team and the Indianapolis team, right?
Yeah.
But they put up 45 against the Midwest Vengeance, and then they took an L against the Indy Bison, right? And we still have yet to see the no, I take it back. Then they also had a week two game where they played the Kentuckiana Cavalry and they beat them 54-24. What we
So
haven't
they
seen
have
yet
they
is
haven't played an actual division opponent yet, because these have all been
right,
non-league games, but counting towards
right.
league standings. You know,
Some
which
of them,
I
not all of
mean,
them, but yeah,
if I'm being honest with you, Cincinnati, how you going to lose to a non-league opponent with the Indy Bison? I mean, come on now, come on.
well, and you're not wrong, but in all fairness, I mean, that Indy team looked pretty solid. They've been together for a while, so I could see how that could have been a little bit of a challenge for them. But you're right. I mean, the level of competition, it's kind of hard to see them necessarily lost. What I am interested in though is weekend playing their first division rival in the Ohio Valley Ironmen, who haven't played a game yet, you know,
Yeah, Ohio
and
Valley playing
so
their
that is
first
going to be
game. So yeah, I'm curious. I mean,
mhm,
week three, you're playing your first game. Obviously, you're going to have more practice time than everybody, but you're not going to have any game reps. And we all know, just watching football as long as we have, the game reps is what's important. So, kind of
yeah,
expecting them to come out a little rusty. I mean, the Dukes have been playing. This is their fourth week in a row. Uh, playing. So they're getting it together. They're getting that chemistry we kind of talked about. San Antonio has developed over the years. Ohio may not
mhm,
have that in real game reps. So
right. It's going to be interesting to see kind of how that is going to break down for them. And then on the same token, we're playing at a high level, and we're going to be playing, the Tall City Black Gold, who themselves, I don't know that they played the Texas Herd, and then
yeah,
had
they
a bye
they
week
played the
week
herd
one,
at the preseason,
right?
and then they played the syndicate last week. So
hmm So we had a bye week. They did not. Is that group of players are going to rest and come back? ready to go. But is that bye week going to hurt us, or is that not going to be a factor here when we go up against Tall City, right? Um, because right now, we're 1-0 in the season, well, 2-0 in the season, really, but 1-0 in league play. And
One, well,
Tall
yeah,
City
one to know
is
in the standings officially. I mean, preseason games don't count, so yeah, 1-0.
right. Well, as high of a score as we racked up, I mean, it's got to count for something. But Tall City is 0-1, right? Is this gonna be their bounce back game? And so I know coach and everybody's not going to be taking this team lightly. They're going to be looking to see kind of, opportunities to kind of stretch the ball out a little bit more, make some bigger plays, really kind of test that defense. Because I know Hunt, who's an incredible quarterback, he definitely tried. And I'm trying to see if I can bring up the stats for that that Tall City syndicate game. My computer's decided to give me some problems today. Um, but without the stats, I can't tell you the exact number. But I know Hunt was in the game. Like he was definitely trying to move the ball around and trying to get it downfield and kind of air it out, right? Um, so he went 8 for 17, 71 yards, one touchdown, one interception. Um, So it looks like he was going for the the bigger plays that Call City was trying to give him downfield, and just wasn't really able to connect on some of them. But they definitely they crushed it on the ground and looked pretty good doing. Um, I know our defensive line is going to have their hands full. Well, I'm sorry, that was against Syndicate. Syndicate had the three-headed monster running back squad.
Yeah,
Um, I don't really know how Tall City's running backs are stacked up in that situation. It could very well be that San Antonio is going to get that next third shutout. Um, but I don't know that I necessarily want to count them out. I mean, um, you know, uh, uh, Tall City's quarterback is not exactly a slack. He went 6 for 12, 52 yards, did throw three interceptions, no picks. But they also have a wide receiver that went 7 to 16, 53
wait,
yards.
you said three interceptions, no picks.
I'm sorry, three interceptions. I was thinking touchdowns and then picks, and it got a little bit brain confused. It's okay. It's okay. Um, but Ball City does have a dual threat player that we're going to have to worry about in this Trey Goodman, with him being a wide receiver and being able to QB, right? So that's something that we're going to have to kind of watch out for. Um, so yeah, I mean, it's going to be an interesting game just
Yeah,
to look at it on paper. Now we'll know what happens obviously Sunday when we get to it. But uh, oh yeah, Excalibur.
Excalibur, we'll get to you. We'll get to you.
Yeah, but I'm going to be honest, man. I got nothing for you. I've got no shots to take against St. Louis. It's not. We'll get to that. We'll get to that. Let's keep tracking with the Continental Football League. Um, so yeah, overall, I expect that we're going to have at least one really close game. Look, Excalibur's leaving. Yeah, just because I've got no insult for him. I'm sorry, man. Uh, but we're going to have at least one good game, possibly two really good games. We just got to kind of wait and see how things are going to go. I'm excited that we're going to be heading over to Wheatley to have a game there, right? Where because it's a city-owned facility and it's not, a high school facility or anything like that, we should be able to, have the tailgating and all the normal things that we do,
Yeah,
right?
have the normal
And
tailgate experience that we weren't quite able to have over at Harlandale, which is obviously a school facility. there's things you're not allowed to do on school property. So Wheatley, we can do that. So
Oh yeah.
our yeah. Um, we'll have beers, we'll have our Toro punch, and all the good stuff. So
Yep. Yeah, and I think in fact this weekend, I mean we're already kind of talking about it, so let's just go ahead and get into it, right?
oh yeah,
I think this weekend we're going to be serving up Tall City burnt ends because we're this weekend. We're going to have BD's world famous potato salad. We're going to have some Toro's
it
poppers,
can come,
and then of
it can
course,
come, you know, in on plate form or maybe even in taco form. It depends. We haven't quite figured that out yet. So
that really all depends on whether the gas grill achieves orbit or not,
this is
right?
true.
So, and that really didn't have a factor in it. It really kind of went back to, whether the guy who said he was going to bring barbecue actually showed up or not. So
Yeah,
that could still be a thing,
I
right?
mean,
For
again,
Tim,
Tim is supposed to bring the barbecue. He may pull. I'm not going to say the guy's name, but and just not show up, even though it tells us he's going to. And we're gonna be stuck with potato salad and poppers again.
I think with Tim's comment, I think he's saying he's coming through. If you want to share
Yep.
that with the group,
No,
but
you will eat a damn
yeah,
potato salad
it
taco and you will
it
like it.
definitely that's kind of what I'm saying, you know.
You get what you get, and you don't throw
Um,
a fit, Tim. All right.
yes, yes, I fully agree with that. But yeah, it should be a really fun tailgate. Again, we're going to be hosting ours and really trying to, spread the love and everybody is of course invited to our tailgate. We never say no. Um, but come early. That way we can try and share everything with everybody, still have a chance to enjoy ourselves, and then be able to pack everything up and get into the game early enough where we can go and do our thing and post up. Um, and maybe, but then that means somebody's going to have to bring tortillas, and it's going to be anyways. Um, Looking forward to it. All you guys and tailgating.
Oh
I
yeah.
do expect that, with this being a Sunday night game, um, I do expect we're going to see a few more people there at the game. I don't know how many more though, because again, it is a Sunday night, 7 p.m. before, a work day on Monday. Um, so we'll have to see kind of how the crowd goes. But
Hopefully,
I do
hopefully it's
expect to see
good.
some damn good
Obviously,
football this weekend.
uh, Sunday night. It's not the Spurs game, so that's Saturday night. So obviously, if it was a Saturday night, that would affect attendance. But hey, Sunday, so there's nothing else going on. So you can come hang out, watch some football after celebrating a Spurs Game 5 victory. So
Yeah, and it could happen,
it will
right? You
happen.
never know. Come out. I just simply don't know, right? I did not expect the Spurs to be down 0-2 to start the playoffs, but that doesn't necessarily mean anything. I mean, it's the best of seven, right? So
Yeah.
anything can happen here. We may even also, I may figure out a way how to bring a TV out and an inverter or something, and that way we can put on, the replay of the Cincinnati Dukes. Ohio. I'm sure people are going to want to see that, and uh, it'll be a fun event. So we covered the Continental Football League. Talk about this weekend's events, and we'll kind of recap that again. Remember, it's going to be this Sunday, Wheatley Stadium, 7 to 10 p.m. Tailgating starts at 3:30. Tickets are as low as $10. You can get the tailgating passes for 50, and it's going to be a good time,
How
right?
much? How much is parking if you don't get a tailgate pass? Do you
I
know?
would say it's 25
Okay.
because I think it's half. Like it's tailgating is basically two parking spots for $50. So
Yeah.
I would assume it's probably 25 for one. Um, right. So we covered the Continental Football League, and obviously lots going on with that. And there's some interesting things that are going on. Well, I think we probably should cover this part also. You were talking about the different teams and all that good stuff, and the non-conference games that kind of count. Um, I think it's important to note that right now, Vegas Gamblers and the Norfolk Neptunes are ancillary market teams,
Yeah.
right? So those games do still count, but they don't like Vegas and Norfolk can't win and get into the playoffs.
Right,
It's
right.
going to come down
They're
to
they're
kind of
they're ineligible
Dukes,
for postseason or whatever, but the games count to the record.
right, right. And so, like, the Texas Herd game that we're going to be playing against, that's a non-divisional game. Um, but if I remember correctly, I think that one does count. So we're gonna, we have to make sure that we keep our foot on the gas all the way around.
Absolutely, yeah.
But so things, the core group is solid. Things are going fine. There's already plans to make adjustments for next year and everything, and get the leagues a little bit more balanced out, and have them ready, with some better partners in the next season. Um,
I would
this
like
season
to
should be
make
a pretty good season.
a request for them if you're looking for better partners. Jason, what's my biggest pet peeve of leagues and stuff like that?
Uh,
It's when they don't update their damn websites. And
oh,
yeah, yeah. I mean, find someone that's going to update your website, daily. Uh, it took like 3 days for the scores from this weekend to get put on. They just updated the standings, like for the entire season, within the last day or two. I mean, update. I mean, update your stuff. Find someone who can put
yeah.
updates on it. I mean,
And see, I cut him a little bit more slack there. I give him a little bit more grace. Um, because I mean, some of this stuff is being done by paid professionals. A, a decent amount of stuff is still being done by folks like you and I that are, kind of on a volunteer level. And so, people do have day jobs and they have other things going on. And so I get it, right? So I'm cutting them a little bit more slack. But on the same token,
I
next
look.
year for sure.
The point of this league is to try and draw eyes to it. That's what they're trying to do right now. So
Mhm.
put out a professional product, update your website, have correct information on there. I don't think that's too much to ask for. I mean, I don't remember which arena league it was a few years ago that was, they kept switching websites and it was ridiculous. And I don't think that league's around anymore. But, like just update your stuff. It's not that hard.
Yeah, yeah, I think I remember which one you were talking about. Um, again, trying to keep on top of some of this stuff is not exactly the easiest when you don't have a full dedicated staff to do a thing. So giving them a little bit of grace on that right now. Next year, yeah, next year we're going to have to make sure that is kind of squared away and running through. But you brought up other leagues, right? So why don't we dip into some of the other leagues and talk about the things that are going on? The last several weeks, we've been so inundated with, connecting with all these different Toros players and some of the syndicate players and stuff like that, that we haven't really had a chance to cover the other leagues too terribly much. So let's start off, obviously, with the UFL, right?
Yep.
You've been following the UFL, you know everything that's going on. We're obviously in championship weekend. They don't even get a bye, right? They're going directly in. So,
Straight in on a short week, which is kind of weird. The playoff games were Sunday, championship game is Saturday. It's kind of weird. Would have thought they would at least maybe push the the games to Saturday or the championship game to Sunday. Give them a full week to prep. But hey, you know what? 6 days is enough, I guess.
Yeah, well, and I mean, a lot of it could have had to do with availability also. I mean, DC may have a game this Sunday,
Yeah,
and
but
so I'm sorry, but the soccer's going to draw more. So
I mean,
at
it's the
least as
soccer
far as
stadium. It's the soccer stadium. It takes precedent. So yeah.
right, and I would say at least as far as in-person attendance. Now, viewership, probably not, right? I would think
Well,
that the UFL probably would have
I,
more
I think
viewership
I
on it.
think we're starting to kick off like World Cup stuff. So I mean, that dude, that viewership like gets more than the damn Super Bowl. So
Yeah, but I don't know that people are going to be watching a regional game over World Cup. You know what I mean? So, and
yeah.
that's going to be a big contender that UFL is going to have to deal with this weekend. And look, it's your favorite Seagulls fan. So I should take some digs at him a little bit when we get to the fourth quarter.
Oh yeah,
Um,
oh yeah. But I
but
mean,
okay,
UFL
so
obviously, yeah, championship weekend. It's going to be in DC. DC actually won their playoff game, so they're going to be playing as the road team. Going to be sitting on the road side. Um, a little interesting. Kind of a different probably feel for them than what they're used to there. Louisville won their game against the Battle Chickens. So yeah, so Louisville and
oh,
DC. Um, oh,
where,
what you got? What you got?
where's well, I thought it was required that we're going to put our tinfoil hats on when we talked about the Louisville St. Louis game. Or is
No, that's tomorrow. That's
that's the other
tomorrow.
podcast?
That's
What are we
tomorrow.
doing
Yeah,
that
that's
tomorrow?
tomorrow. Yeah, yeah. So check out Snap
Inside
Decisions.
joke.
We didn't have our show last night. Wanted to watch the Spurs game instead. So we're gonna have our episode tomorrow night. So check us out, 8 o'clock. You know, normal channels. And yeah, we may be having head decorations. So I will not be going to the game.
That's
I would like to, but I had some other stuff going on. But Jackie's going, Brahma Babe's going, so there will be a San Antonio representation. Um, yeah, yes, next Excalibur tinfoil hats. We'll explain it tomorrow.
yep. This that's what you call setting the stage, right?
Yep, yep,
To make
yep.
sure you folks
So
tune in
here's
tomorrow.
a little appetizer. Just kind of just wet your palate a bit. Um, but yeah, so games were fun this weekend. Close games. Nobody got blown out. They were competitive the whole time. Just fun, good football. So I really enjoyed them. But looking forward to the game on Saturday.
Um, I would definitely say that the Beck curse still lives on, right?
I
Lewis
mean,
didn't make it,
it not
and
only not
Orlando
only
didn't make
lives on, not only resides in the original city, like there's like a remnant of Beck still in St. Louis, but he transferred it to Orlando as well. So
it. Is that is that the bottom line podcast? Those guys, love those guys. Um, yeah, it seems like, you know, God bless him. Anthony Beck is a good coach, but whenever it comes to playoffs, he kind of went to the Bob Stoops school of coaching.
he's a
So,
good regular season coach.
mhm.
He is a terrible, I will say, a terrible big game coach.
Mhm.
Last week's game, they lost because of coaching. DC won because of coaching, and it was a striking difference between the two. Um, just stupid
Yeah.
mistakes that Orlando was making. Just lapses in judgment, coaching things that you take out in coaching. Just some of his some of his calls, some of his when he challenged a play that he challenged, he didn't need to challenge a play, and he wasted a challenge in the first half. There were other opportunities that would have better suited him to save that challenge for a second half. Kind of some of the time he went for it, didn't go for it, didn't go for a fourth down or whatever, that just it cost him the game. I mean, and it's stuff that we've seen year in, year out for him. And, I mean, we've seen it now 4 different years for 2 different teams. So what's the common denominator?
Common denominator is Anthony Beck. I mean, that's all you can really say. I feel really bad for him, like I said. I know he's a good coach. He cares. The comparison you made, the Battlehawks being the Dallas Cowboys of the UFL, they get right to the end and then fall apart. Can't make it past the first round of playoffs, right? And that's kind of the Cowboys' MO for how long now? So I feel.
What are we on? I think we're
bad.
on what? I mean, 30 years now. So yeah.
Yeah, it's been not good. Sorry. Getting calls about some of the indoor football stuff. Oh wow. Beck is the Mike McCarthy of the UFL. But that's not true because Mike McCarthy does have a Super Bowl ring.
Yeah.
Yep. So, but okay, so yeah, UFL's going. We also have the indoor football league going on this weekend, and San Antonio has kind of turned things around a little bit, right? We haven't really had a chance to talk about them too much. But the last game that they played, which was about 2 weeks ago, if I remember correctly, they did lose, but they looked better, right? And that has kind of been they've been really struggling at the quarterback position. Their quarterbacks will be, hot and cold in the same game, right?
Yeah.
Jason Garrett of the and then of course
that one
Sabrina,
works.
It is okay,
Yeah.
honey.
Jason Garrett works.
Jason Garrett is a good comparison. But okay, so we're talking about IFL right now. And again, San Antonio has been kind of struggling, but they're 13th place out of 14 teams. But their current record is 3-3. So
3-7.
And keep in mind they're 13th out of 14th when 3-7. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I missed one of the stats. My apologies. But
I think so.
They're still
they have to make it to I think the top 3 make it to the playoffs, or is it the top 4? I think it's the top 3 in each conference make it.
I want to say it's the top 3.
Yeah. So currently it's the Arizona Rattlers that are in the 3rd spot at a 7-3 record. So you know what? If the Gunslingers are going to sneak into the playoffs, they got quite a bit of ground to make up.
Mm-hmm. Well, and definitely they've got a lot on their shoulders. This weekend they're going to be playing the New Mexico Chupacabras, which I think are the only other team right now that's having a worse season than they are. So that should be, hopefully it's the spark that the team needs. Like I said, they've been in every game that they played, for the most part. It's just, their struggles at quarterback have really been kind of, hurting them as an organization. And it's not for lack of talent. They just can't seem to kind of get everything together. So we'll have to see what happens this weekend.
It looks like they've got 6 more games left. So, again, they're going to make a move. They got to make a move in a hurry.
Yeah. So Um, let's switch over to the National Arena League because the National Arena League has basically kind of happened under our noses and didn't even get a chance to pay any attention to them at all. Um, of course, we're in the playoffs now with the National Arena League. The West Texas Warbirds did not really wind up doing much of anything their first season back. I take it back. Regular season, they finished out eighth in the season. They won one game, lost nine out of 10 games. So, yeah, they really didn't do much at all. Um, and the only team that's lower than them is the proposed expansion team for next year, which is the Dallas Apex. And if I remember correctly, I think the Dallas Bulls started out the season with
Yeah.
the National Arena League and then folded like two games in. So just some kind of general craziness happening over there in the National Arena League. But in the playoffs, we are looking at Salinas Liberty at number four is going up against Colorado Spartans at number five, and then Sioux City Bandits at three is going against number six Omaha Beef.
Yep.
Those the winners of those will go on to play either Kansas City Storm or the Pueblo Punishers, which then will go into that chip game.
Yeah.
So yeah, like a whole season has kind of gone by us, and we really didn't get to talk much about it at all. Um, Not that there would have been much for us to talk about with, Dallas folding and,
Oh yeah.
Amarillo not
Almost
having the greatest
immediately.
of seasons.
So yeah.
Yeah. So, that's going to be kind of rough. But so you've got arena football going on this weekend in the National Arena League. And then, of course, you also have the AF1 going strong as well. And they're looking to make expansions, if I remember correctly. I believe this is the league that's supposed to be putting a team in Austin, is it not?
AF1.
Yeah, I thought it was AF1.
I
Or
am
was it
not sure.
was it indoor? Well, I'll have to go back and check. But yes, there's a proposed indoor football league or a proposed indoor football team rather coming to Austin, Texas. And that'll be for the 2027 season. That should be really interesting because Austin does have some that you can play indoor football. And so it'll be interesting to see how the Austin society kind of reacts to that alternative football. Um, but so we're chugging along nicely.
So
Um,
it looks like so it is going to be the IFL that's going to have a team in Austin.
okay, cool. Um, that'll be really good. Um, so over back in the AF1, right, we've got Beaumont, which we follow. Beaumont is not having a great season. They played 7 games so far. They're 2-5 on the season, and chances are they're probably not going to make the playoffs. You've got Albany running away with the division at 8-1, and then National Cats slightly behind them at 6-1, and then Kentucky Barrels at 6-2, and then Minnesota Monsters at 5-2. So those are your top four. Those are most likely going to be the teams that are going to wind up in the playoffs, which should be happening in the next couple of weeks, if I remember correctly. Um, No, actually, it's going to be a while, right? Because we do have 16, or I'm sorry, 15 weeks of football in the National Arena League. So it's going to carry well into the end of July.
Okay.
Um, yeah.
I'll be honest, I
So
haven't really paid a whole lot of attention to the to AF1. So
yeah. Well, again, I mean, it's really hard with the UFL going on, the COFL going on, and then us trying
yeah.
to keep our eyes on everything else. Everything that's NFL and stuff like that. So obviously a lot of football to try and keep up with, and it's just been a little bit crazy this year with well, especially for me, right, with being UFL, you being so tied up with the UFL, and just all the moving parts, right? It's been a little bit difficult this season to track everything. But this should be week 10 coming up this weekend in the AF1. You've got a couple of really good games. Um, Beaumont is not playing. It looks like they've got a bye this week. They won't play again until June 20th, and they're going to be taking on the Oceanside Bombers. So I mean, there's a chance, right? There's a chance they can make up some ground and potentially be, the outlier sneaking
Yeah.
into the playoffs. You never know. Um, but that's kind of a recap of everything that's happened in arena football. We've got one league that is, pretty much wrapping up in the next couple of weeks. We've got a league that in the next 2 weeks. And then, of course, AF1 that's, going to be carrying on until, towards the end of July. And then they get into their playoffs.
Let me update. So I actually went and looked at the IFL playoffs last year. It was 4 teams in each conference. So San Antonio's only 1 game behind from that 4 seed. So
what you're saying is there's a chance.
So you're telling me there's a chance. That's right.
Yep. Which
they got to be 1 game, 2 games, just better than the Tucson Sugar Skulls over the next 6 weeks. So,
well, and that could easily happen. I mean, we've seen teams fall apart before, so there could be a chance that San Antonio sneaks in, right? But again, they've got to get their quarterback situation right.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we'll have to see kind of how that breaks down. Obviously, we just mentioned the NFL. It's only fitting that we kind of wrap up the show kind of with the big dogs.
You know what? Real quick, before we get into the NFL, I want to ask you a question, dude. Have you paid attention or kind of jumping into college a little bit? This stuff going on with Brendan Sorby, the Texas Tech quarterback.
Man, I'm going to be honest. I saw some stuff. I don't know all the details, so I don't know that I have enough information to form an opinion. But it seems like there is a very, very strong opinion about what's going on, either good or bad, right? Some people are saying, leave the dude be, let him play. Other people are saying, the NCAA needs to step in and issue a ruling and tell him that he cannot play, plain and simple. So why don't we do this? For people like me, BD, because I know you follow college football, why don't you update us all on what's going on and where the big controversy is coming from?
So yeah, just kind of, I mean, and I'll run through it pretty quick, but he kind of checked himself into a gambling rehab earlier this year, kind of towards at the end of the season, whatever. Basically admitted to betting on NCAA games, was basically ruled ineligible for college to continue his college career because of the betting. It's obviously against the rules. It's against the rules in every freaking sport, but especially college. He's kind of been going back and forth. He applied for reinstatement, was denied. And then just this week, a judge basically issued an injunction against the NCAA, allowing him to resume his eligibility. So apparently he's going to have to serve a 2-game suspension, and then he'll be eligible to play after that. Obviously, it is a it's a moving news thing. It's not, there's going to be appeals and all that stuff. And, we still got 2 months until the college football kicks off. So this is not the end of the story, but what I'm, kind of the news that's been coming out today of it is other leagues, basically the Big Ten is saying, we're not going to play Texas Tech as long as he is eligible to play. The SEC has talked about doing something similar. I think even the Big 12 is kind of talking about how they're going to handle this. So he may be eligible to play, but they may not have opponents to play them, if he's on the team, which is I'm finding that's kind of the interesting part of the story that I'm seeing right now is These other teams are saying, no, we will not play you if this player is on your team because it goes against the fundamental rules of the game.
So let me ask you this then, as an outsider kind of looking in. If not to play Tech and just don't show up at all, that's a default win, correct?
I don't know. I
Because
Is it a
here's what now
forfeit? I don't know. So
I would think it would be according to the rules, that would be a forfeit. So here's what I'm concerned about now. Tech now gets basically a free pass into the championship playoffs, not having played a single game because all their opponents are going to forfeit against them.
however, the playoffs are not going to be there's a playoff committee that will select the teams. Let's just say hypothetical, every team that Tech is supposed to play forfeits against them, they could have a 12-0 record. The playoff committee is not going to select Tech for the playoffs. They still have to be chosen to get in based on their schedule, how good the committee thinks they are. If they don't play a game, they don't have a work to submit to get in.
Okay, and see, I thought it was based on record.
No,
So
it's based on rankings, and again, the committee deciding. Now maybe I don't know. A conference championship will automatically get you in. I don't think the Big 12 would, you know, uh, uh, not play them. I would assume they would play their conference schedule. Uh, it's the non-conference teams that are kind of gonna, that I'm curious about. So, and I mean, Tim,
okay,
you make a point, but again, there's a difference between betting on basketball, baseball, whatever, some other sport, and then betting on your own sport. That goes against every rule of ethics, in every single sport. And then you're looking at, okay, possible tampering. There's, as big of a deal as betting is in these leagues, and the, you know, the thought of, we see it in every sport every year. Oh, the script says this, so this is what's going to happen. Oh, these games are faked. We can't. The refs want this team to win. All this. The perception of any kind of impropriety. These leagues have to keep that completely out of the leagues. Tim, even if it's not on his own team, I don't know. I mean, the guy made like thousands of bets. I don't know. I don't know. I have not done a deep dive into what they were, or if that's even out there. I have no clue. But if he's betting on NCAA, I'm sorry, he should not be allowed to play. That is a hard, fast line that, banned, automatic ban across the board. So,
I have to tend to agree with Tim here. Because how much tampering can you possibly do when you're betting on games that are not your own? Just like I tend to think that Major League Baseball should have put Pete Rose in the Hall of Fame while he was still alive because the guy was betting on his own team to win. It's like you can do anything to tamper with a team to get your team to win, except to pay off the other team. Which then how much are you really winning? You know what I mean? Um, so if he's betting on his own team and he's betting on his own team to win, I don't. I can see how it could, the optics could maybe necessarily look bad, but the tampering, it's kind of a bit of a stretch. If you're playing an opponent and you bet on your team to lose, then 100%, right? Because you're going to have a way to influence the outcome of that game, right? That could affect your bet. So yeah, that for sure. Um,
So
But
just in my professional research of Wikipedia, which we all know is never wrong. So uh,
never, never.
never wrong. On May 29th, Sorsby admitted to placing over $90,000 in bets over 4 years on his own team 40 times, and then using friends and family to their accounts to avoid detection. So the guy knew what he was doing was wrong, and he was like trying to use friends and family to skirt
Okay,
the rules. So
okay. Yeah, that's trying to game the system to gain an advantage for himself, uh, knowing full
yeah,
well what the rules are. Like if he would have done it under his own account, then I probably would have felt a little bit more kind of sympathy to his situation. And yeah, yikes, $90,000. That's ridiculous. When you're supposed to be a college kid and you're not supposed to be making that much. Although
I mean,
with
come
the
on,
with
NIL,
UIL
yeah, these
money
college kids are making way
or
over
NIL,
90 grand, but yeah,
there's college kids that are making more money playing college football than they could as a pro, and
oh,
are completely
absolutely,
capable, right? And that's just insane. Anyways, had he bet on his own account, okay, right? Because then he's not trying to skirt the rules. He's not, uh, hiding things, anything like that. But because he specifically tried to be deceptive about it, that's why I'm like, okay, then you are trying to game the system, regardless of whether you're betting on your team to win or lose or whatever, right? That's just ridiculous. Uh, no, no, we're not talking about the baseball, and we're not talking about basketball. We're not talking about anything else. What we are going to do is we're going to finish talking about the NFL.
yeah.
Have you heard anything from the Cowboys mandatory training camp stuff?
I really the only news kind of going for Cowboy stuff is George Pickens going to show up. He signed his franchise tag, um, but obviously he's still not happy. He wants a full a multi-year contract. Um, so we'll see. You know, I'm not sure what's going to happen. Again, I was completely wrong last year when I, you know, was like, oh, there's no way they're going to let Micah Parsons walk, and hey, they traded him, which you know what did not turn out to be too bad of a deal for us. Uh, but you know, um, yeah, I mean, or not Pars, sorry, Pickens. We'll see what happens. I'm hoping for the best. Hopefully they work something out, or at least, hey, let him play on the franchise tag for a year, ball out, and then get himself a much bigger contract. Um, I think the biggest news, since the last week, is the surprise trade of Myles Garrett to the Rams. Um, obviously,
Yeah.
uh, obviously the trade between AJ Brown got traded to the Patriots. Everybody knew that was going to happen. Everybody knew it was going to happen on June 1. So when it was officially announced, nobody was surprised. But Garrett to the Rams shocked the hell out of everybody, and especially there's kind of the talk, rumors, potential. That Aaron Donald might want to make a comeback now. He's been posting
Oh,
videos of him working out, and I mean, he's been out of the league for what, 3 years now, 2 3 years. Obviously he's not going to be what
yeah,
he is, but if he's like 70% of what he was, paired up with Myles Garrett, oh my god, that's a scary freaking combination.
yeah. And I'm sure he would come in for the league veteran minimum just to have that chance to try and get a ring. So
Yeah.
uh, I will say, over on my side of the world, first and foremost, it is no longer the
Just real
Chicago
quick,
Bears.
Tim, I think they decided. I think he's going to wear number 6. I actually just saw that pop up, so he's got a number. He's good to go.
Well, there you go. Right. There's always good news. Um, in my side of the world, it's no longer the Chicago Bears. It is the Gary, Indiana Bears because they're
Yep.
moving over to
Yep.
Indiana, right? And
Not
I
officially, but
get it.
it's looking that way. So it's
No,
they're moving forward with it.
it's gonna happen.
Yeah,
Yeah. I can guarantee you it's gonna happen because the deal that they're getting out of it, there's no way they would pass it up. So cool, right?
I mean,
But
it
I'm
is
never gonna be able
Chicago.
to look at them and say
It is Chicago.
it's
I mean,
not Chicago.
we know how they are with passing a lot of the time, so they may pass it up.
That they don't do well at passing though, so it's gonna get picked off, I'm sure. Um, but so you got that. That's really big news. Out of training camp, first and foremost, uh, uh, what's his name? Tucker Kraft is starting to, get some reps in, which that's kind of a big one because remember he had that really nasty ACL injury.
Hmm.
Um, and then of course, Micah is still on the bench. Big surprise there. Um, it does look like they're, you know, Tucker Kraft isn't really taking full contact kind of play, but he is out there getting some reps in. And they even had him at quarterback at one point, which apparently he did all right at, which is kind of surprising, right? Um, Now again, he's doing it just basically throwing. He's not under any kind of real pressure. Um, and of course, Matthew Golden starting to get some more reps, so I kind of expect to see a bigger breakout year from him. But I am interested first and foremost to see how Love is going to do this year, who his backup is, and then of course how God dang it, what's his name? The guy who went over to Miami. Because it sounds like your prediction has kind of come true. He's starting to struggle in training camp in Miami.
Malik Willis.
Um, there you go, Malik Willis. It sounds like we're there. So,
I mean, of course, he's a
right now,
Miami quarterback.
obviously,
That they struggle. That's what they do.
that's true. I mean, everybody that goes to Miami
I gotta make
struggles.
sure my wife doesn't come around the corner and throw a chocolate at me for saying that. But if I duck, you guys know why.
Yep. You'll get it when you get off the air. That way there's no evidence. Um, so again, these are the rookie mini camps and stuff like that. Um, this isn't the full on, so we're not going to get a whole bunch of news out of everything. I will say though, it does look like Green Bay is getting bit with the bug early. We've got a couple of players who probably are not playing a significant role in any schemes yet or anything like that. But we've got 4 or 5 uh, somewhat serious injuries already, and these are
Yeah.
at the lower levels. So I hate to say it, but I hope that's the sacrifice to the football gods to keep, our second and third stringers and definitely our first stringers healthy, right? Uh, because we're already going to struggle this year as it is. Have some of our key players like on the O line or something like that out, and us betting the farm on whatever the hell his name is. I don't even want to say his name. Michael Pearson's. Um, we're going to have our hands full this season, and it's going to be really rough, right? So I don't want to see anybody else get seriously hurt, and then us wind up, being like Minnesota,
Yeah.
you know. So, but yeah,
I
our world right now, things are ramping up.
for yeah, they are, and I mean we're kickoffs in like 2 months, so
Yep.
it's gonna start getting heavy, real quick. I say kickoff. That's the preseason kickoffs in like 2 months.
Mhm.
So as far as like the Cowboys again, let's see what happens with Pickens. Obviously hope he comes back. I'm really curious how this defense is going to look. Uh, Cowboys spent a lot of draft capital, a lot of free agent signings, bolstering up the defense. Obviously, a new defensive coordinator. Um, Caleb Downs, man, he looks good coming in. He was a big name draft player. A lot of people kind of think he's one of the steals of the draft, or one of the best players in the draft. Man, I'm cautiously optimistic. I mean, we can't really be worse than the defense was last year.
Mhm.
So, uh, yeah, I'm kind of a little hopeful. I'm not ready to say it's our year, but I'm interested in see where it goes.
You're one of the only Cowboy fans that isn't willing to say that every single year, so I applaud you on that. That being the case, I think we pretty much touched on everything. Guys, remember, there's plenty of football going on this weekend. You've got
Absolutely.
UFL, you've got IFL. Obviously, the Gunslingers are playing this weekend. You've got NAL. Beaumont will not be playing, but there's still plenty that can be watched there. Uh, the AF1, and then of course your San Antonio Tours in the Continental Football League will be taking on the Tall City Black Gold, right? We've got our own beer already because you knew that was going to happen, right? And,
Yeah,
and I've already previewed that,
and
but
I don't have one on my shelf yet. So what the hell?
I guess you're just going to have to show up this weekend, Saturday, 7 p.m. at Wheatley Stadium. Gates
Sunday,
open up at
Sunday.
I'm sorry, Sunday. Thank you. Uh, Tailgating starts at 3:30. Gates open up at 5:30, I believe, or 6. Game starts at 7. So make sure you're there. Come find us. Texas Talking Football. We'll be tailgating in full swing. It'll be SAJ, BD over here, and Toro Tim.
Yep.
We'll be tearing it up, serving it up on the ones and twos. That's the griddle and the grill. I'm sorry, the grill and the
Uh,
grill.
come
Right.
come visit us. Be hungry and be thirsty because we'll have food and drink for you.
Yep. So, BD, I think it's only fair because I cut you off the last time to give you a chance to say anything. We were in the NBA playoffs. Who'd you like to say goodbye to tonight?
I mean, who it's going to be, and I mean it works for football too. But you know what? Obviously, Spurs won last night. Down 2-1 in the series. You know what? We're still coming back though. Watching the way if you've seen any videos or whatever on the Facebooks and the Tiki Talks and all that stuff, you know, uh Knicks fans beating up like beating the hell out of like Spurs fans walking around the street with Spurs jerseys and shirts, stuff like that. So a big and hearty suck at New York uh goes out today. So
Yeah, and so I'm gonna have to second that just because, right, there's no call for that kind of behavior, but it is New York, most
yeah.
uncivilized city in the world. So suck it, New York, go Toros, vamos Toros, all the good things. We'll catch you guys this Sunday. See you there.
Later, guys.
Later.